Hello, my beautiful investors and listeners. How are you doing this morning? My name is Bridget Augustus, and I'm here this morning to talk to you about land titles. Land titles. The most terrible thing that could happen to anyone is for you to actually go ahead to buy a land without checking out its titles. If you were to buy a car, I'm sure before you pull out money to pay for that car, you want to know exactly the make of the car, the mileage on the car, different things. At least give yourself different information for you to know exactly what the car is about. You have to be satisfied with the documentation of the car for you to part with your money for that car. So why would you want to actually part with money for a land and you don't know nothing about the land? You don't know the titles, you don't know anything about the land, and someone is asking you to pull out millions for the land and no checks and balances have been done for you to be sure the land is okay. This is where I come in today, and that is why I'm treating this topic. I want to talk to you about land titles. What are the titles? What am I to watch out for before I buy a land? What are the things I must ask the seller to show me? What are the things I must confirm with the seller for me to go ahead to buy the land? What gives me guarantee that that land sooner or later will not be collected from me? What gives me guarantee? What makes me sure that at the end of the day I can go to bed with the land or the property that I am buying? So this is where we come in. All right. For starters, I want to talk about land as a whole. In Nigeria, this is where my emphasis will be dwelling on today. There is a Land Act of 1978 that states that every single land belongs to the government. So every land is being run at the federal level and at the state level. So state governments administer, issuing of lands. But the beautiful thing or the fortunate thing is that the ancestral owners are also put in view concerning these lands. But there are two types of acquisition, because when it comes to land, we'll be talking about acquisition of land. We have the global acquisition and we have the committed acquisition. When we talk about the global acquisition, we're talking about that land that belongs to the government, but the government have no plan whatsoever for that land. It is the land that belongs to the government that is free, which simply means that if once the community does due diligence, enough paperwork, they are able to collect back those land. That is global acquisition. But then we have the committed acquisition, which has to do with lands that are totally committed. These are lands that it doesn't matter, it could take a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but these are lands that government already has plans for, and they've planned that, okay, this land it's committed because we're going to do so and so and so things on this land. When you see lands where you have schools, hospitals, health centers, and the rest, you see lands where you have police station and all. These are lands that were committed way back, and these are lands that the government now begins to run different projects on. So just get what I said now. We have the global acquisition and we have the committed acquisition. The global acquisition, the ancestral owners can collect back after due diligence with the government, and the committed acquisition are such that they cannot be sold, they cannot be transferred, and can only be used by the government. All right. So having said that, I want to begin to talk about the different land titles. First, I want to talk about something called escission in progress. Escission in progress actually is not a land title, but then it is a document that shows that a land has been excised, a land has been cut off by the government to be returned to a community. So when the land is being cut off, the process by which the government is now returning this land back to the community, it says excision is in progress. I repeat, it's not a title. But then when the government now goes ahead and approves the part that has been cut off, papers are signed, stamped and everything, you now say it is a government approved excision. When a land is a government approved excision, it simply shows that it is free. It is free and it is given to the community to use for whatever purposes they want to use it for. Be they want to use it to develop their projects, or they want to sell, as the case may be. But just know at this point it is free because it has been excised from the other part that the government is planning to use. So, having said a land is excised, what document am I now expecting, at the end of the day, if a land has been excised? So that is where we have a document called Gazette. Let me explain. The land has been excised. The government now comes out to tell the community that, this land has been excised, we have given it to this community, but we want to tell the world, we want to tell the public that, see, this portion of land no longer belongs to the government, it now belongs to the community. So it is now published. There's this government publication, where it is now published in a magazine owned by the government, where it is now gazetted. So once it goes into that publication, it is called a gazette. At that point, the world knows that this land or this parcel of land has been released fully to the community, and it is now being owned by the community, and the government has approved and stamped and ensured this is a publication showing that this land no longer belongs to the government, but it belongs to this community. So are we clear? So that is the one that has to do with the gazette. All right, I want to go ahead to talk about the certificate of occupancy. What is a certificate of occupancy? This is a legal document that shows that a community can sell a land, and the land is sold and it is released to the owner, to the buyer, for 99 years. Don't forget what I said, every land belongs to the government. So now this land is being purchased. So once it is purchased, it is now handed over to the owner with a certificate of occupancy, which lasts for 99 years. What happens after 99 years? Well, the debate is still on. Some people say, and there has to be further documentations and all that, but essentially we just know that certificate of occupancy gives the owner, the buyer, rights to that land for the next 99 years. Okay. So let's talk about two other things. I really quickly want to talk about a survey plan and a deed of assignment. A survey plan is a document that shows the actual boundaries of a land. It shows the demarcations of the land. It shows, the coordinates of the land. So once a survey has been fully done on a land and it is now registered, you have to take it to the government to register your survey. So once it's registered, you now get what is called a red copy. So once you get a red copy, it simply means that your survey has been registered with the government. So at that point, it's now, nobody can encroach on those coordinates or those boundaries, because it has been measured, it has been signed, sealed. It's like using the word signed, sealed, and delivered, even in the government office. Okay, so that is with the survey plan. Then we have what is called the deed of assignment. What is a deed of assignment? A deed of assignment is a document that shows the details of your transaction, between the buyer and the seller. That's what a deed of assignment actually shows. So once you buy a land, a deed of assignment must be drawn. It shows everything about the transaction, that has been done, and it has to be drawn. Actually, a deed of assignment has to be drawn by a real estate attorney, not just anybody. Take note of that. It has to be drawn by a real estate attorney, verifying and showing the details of your transaction or the transaction between the buyer and the seller. So don't forget, these are some of the documents that things you must take note of or be aware of once you are going into land purchase in real estate. If you could go ahead and check the documentations of a car before you pay for it, then you must do the same with the land. Anywhere you go to and they tell you they cannot show you, or you cannot freely go to the land to check it out, do due diligence, take a survey out there, be sure the land is free from government encumbrances, and you are not free to do all of that. My advice to you is run away from such a land. But then if you know that you want to be sure and you don't want your money to enter voicemail, like I will always say, you don't want your money to enter voicemail, then you better come and let us check out these details for you. A lot of my clients, before we go ahead to make payments, we make sure we check these coordinates, we check the details, we check the paperwork to be sure. Because like I will always say, I don't want to cry over any client, and I don't want to any client crying over their land. So I want you to call us, if you're confused, you're not sure what to do, how to handle this, how to go about this, why not call the number on your screen. Let's help you out. My number remains 07030522125. You can call the number on your screen, call me, and I'll help you out. Make sure your documentations are okay so that you can beat your chest indeed when you make a purchase and say, indeed, I can go to bed concerning this land. Okay? All right, now I remain your realtor, Bridget Augustus. Don't forget, I bring you the very best of real estate investments in Lekki Lagos, Nigeria. I service people both in diaspora and in Nigeria, and so far I would say it has been very beautiful, helping people, putting smiles on the faces of people when it comes to lands, purchases of lands, purchases of apartments, because indeed what has to be done has to be done. All right, now do give me a call, and I'll expect to hear from you, okay? And then pick the phone, make the door right away, and invest with us. I remain your realtor, Bridget Augustus. Thank you, and do have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.